The Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has banned e-cigarettes. Now, many would say that this is a welcome step. The presence of nicotine in e-cigarettes causes addictions. This was becoming a huge concern for children, among others. But then there are those who believe that, look, more needs to have been done to tackle tobacco, burning tobacco, original cigarettes as they were. Nothing has been done there, but e-cigarettes have been targeted. E-cigarettes, the argument being made, less harmful than original cigarettes.
A headline-grabbing announcement by the Finance Minister today after a cabinet meeting, one that parents might just welcome. E-cigarettes or vaping devices like this, the Finance Minister has announced that these will be banned. These go for anything between 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, and the liquid that goes inside them comes for another 1,000 rupees a bottle.
Through an ordinance, e-cigarettes have been banned.
When kids use Juuls or other e-cigarettes, they're getting a big dose of nicotine. This disrupts their brain development. It changes the connections between brain cells, causing problems with learning, mood, and impulse control. It makes depression and anxiety worse.
The Finance Minister said this was on the basis of US data and fears of this alternative catching on in India.
Data that we have largely is of course derived from the US's experience. There has been a 77.8% growth among school students who are in the 10th and 12th level. But in India, there has been ground reports as to how the youth have taken it as probably, and I'm using it in a very loose fashion, but it is in some places getting convinced as it's like a style statement.
The vaping industry is estimated to be in crores. The immediate impact was on tobacco stocks, which rose as the decision was announced shortly before markets closed.
We'll be fighting about this in the court, not for the business, but to help, people who are struggling to quit smoking. They know what vapings are, they know what the benefits are.
When there are far more effective ways of stopping smoking and switching to a healthier alternative like electronic cigarettes, why is the government hell-bent on banning e-cigarettes instead of tobacco or the normal conventional cigarettes?
So are e-cigarettes more dangerous than tobacco ones? Why not ban those as well?
The immediate concern and urgency for the Indian government to ban e-cigarettes is because Juul as a company was planning to enter Indian markets in a big way, and they felt that the younger generation will be addicted to something which will cost them their lives in later years. With Ruby, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, joining us to look at this, we've got school principals, we've got those who represent the vaping industry in India, we've got doctors as well. Dr. Sameer Gupta, Senior Interventional Cardiologist at Metro Hospitals, Dr. Rajneesh Kapoor from Medanta Hospital joins us. The tobacco control expert, Dr. Monica Arora, will be with us as well in a moment. Lalita Kumara Mangalam remains. She's with the BJP. Harinder Singh Lamba, principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya, joins us. And Praveen Arora, the convener and trade representative of Trends, which is part of the industry which has encouraged the use of e-cigarettes. Let me go to Dr. Sameer Gupta first. Dr. Gupta, are e-cigarettes harmful? Because the argument which has been given is that it's either not harmful or it's much less harmful than normal tobacco cigarettes. So what is your view on this?
So let me begin by saying that I think it's the step that has been done from a healthcare perspective, from a public health standpoint, this is a very welcome thing. Now cigarettes have been there for many, many years, and we know a lot about tobacco and what the harmful effects of cigarettes have been, because we've been studying them for many years. However, vaping and electronic cigarettes are comparatively new. They've been, for the most part, in the market for the last 4 to 5 years. So we are still learning as we go about their harmful effects. It's not that they're absolutely free of anything. And what we've learned, as more and more studies are being done, as more and more research is being done in this field, and we are seeing patients with vaping, we've come to realize that they increase the risk of heart attacks, they increase the risk of stroke. There have also been, off late, you must have read the news that there has been a lot of cases of irreversible lung damages and actually death in children and teenagers in the United States attributed to vaping. So I don't think vaping is as benign as we think. I don't think it is absolutely harmless as we think. we are learning as we go about the process of vaping and the side effects.
Okay. Harinder Lamba, as a principal of a school, Kendriya Vidyalaya, was it a concern or is it a concern of yours that students would be into this as well, because there's almost no smoke, or in many cases there's no smoke at all, and that this would become an alternative to cigarette smoking? Were there habits or trends developing?
Yes, absolutely right. You are absolutely right, because among the students, due to lack of knowledge and awareness, most of the parents even don't know about the e-cigarette, and the children used to fool them by showing them as a pan, because it moreover resembles like to a pan.
Or a USB or something.
Yeah, just like that, and due to which the parents are not taking care of that thing. They used to think that it is a pan or something like any device, electronic device, which is useful for the studies of the students. But moreover, it is a dangerous thing, and even the children, they are not aware about the bad effects of these things. So it's a right decision taken by the government in this regard, as well as it is also in promotion of Fit India movement, and I think it is a right step taken at right time.
Harinder, when we talk about addictions, we often talk about drug addictions, but addictions can be to anything, and for young developing minds, that must be a constant concern of yours, that an addiction even to this is something which needs to be detected early, because there is that risk.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, because in schools we had seen that the students coming from class 5th, 6th, even 7th class standard students, they are enjoying it either due to peer pressure or just they want to
so
try
peer pressure
something
is
new.
a factor?
Yeah, it is.
Even for something relatively new, yeah. Carry on, yeah.
Yeah. So being a peer pressure, they used to try it, and as far as I think, it contains nicotine. As I had gone through several reports also, which is very much dangerous towards the lungs and kidney. And even it also causes P symptoms in the kidneys and the lungs.
Right.
So it's very dangerous, and due to lack of awareness, the students are moreover trying it.
Okay. Do we have Praveen Ricky from Trends? As it, we'll just get Praveen Ricky, who speaks for the industry. But I wanted to go across to Dr. Rajneesh Kapoor as well. Dr. Kapoor, there have been studies which have actually come up, which have been widely published in the Indian Journal of Clinical Practice, which has looked at the evidence of something dangerous. And I'm just trying to understand from you, from a medical standpoint, the dangers which exist in e-cigarettes. When we talk about the presence of lead, cadmium, lanthanum, how does this harm us?
Yeah, so I'm coming on. It's very clear that e-cigarettes, the concept came. Should I?
Yeah, keep going. You're on air.
Hello. Yeah. So Vishnu, yeah, concept of e-cigarettes actually came into being with the plan that once the e-cigarettes are consumed or used, it can help aiding a person to quit nicotine, the traditional cigarettes. But that thing actually failed totally, because one, it was never shown in the studies that once somebody is consuming e-cigarettes, that itself is addictive to adolescents. Now, it was marketed as a safe and innocuous alternative to traditional cigarettes. So again, that is unsuccessful, because adolescents actually led into this trap. Since they felt that it is safe, they started consuming e-cigarettes in a very big way. In fact, the American data says that in 2011, the 5% of adolescents were consuming e-cigarettes, vis-a-vis after 4 years, in 2015, there are 19% of adolescents who fell into the trap of getting addicted to e-cigarettes. It is very harmful. It contains nicotine and some flavoring agents, out of which, there was a study also done on few students where saliva was tested after the e-cigarettes, and it was found positive for formaldehyde and acrolein.
Yeah.
Now, these type of chemicals are known to cause DNA damage. So DNA damage can directly lead to cancers. The problem with e-cigarette is that it can lead to such dangerous cancers or serious lung injuries after a 1 year of consumption only, whereas traditional cigarette smoking is known to cause these problems after a long period. So it's clearly very dangerous, and it's a welcome step banning the e-cigarettes all over.
Okay. Praveen Ricky, as convener and the trade representative of Trends, how do you see this? Because there is data available which suggests that in addition to nicotine, there are other chemicals in e-cigarettes which were harmful, and hence this needed to be banned. Why would you say that it's not a good move? Anything that's addictive should be banned, right?
Well, you know, cigarettes are not allowed. Chewing tobacco is allowed. BDs is allowed. There are studies which we have shared with the government and everybody else. These are readily available, and these are studies from very well-known institutions of the world, which says that e-cigarettes are, you know, more than 90% safer than traditional cigarettes. I don't know how you can allow a more harmful substance and ban a less harmful substance. That is what we are questioning. So why look at selective studies?
Okay. Mrs. Kumaramangalam, would you like to respond to that? Because I think what she says is very much a no-brainer. Yeah. Cigarettes have to be banned. It's not been banned in that sense. I'm not aware anywhere in the world. We have perhaps the second largest consumption of cigarettes and BDs outside China. And why isn't more done to deal with that? Because it's an employer? Is that the reason?
I don't think it's a question of either or, Vishnu. I agree with you that cigarettes should be banned. But let's also be aware of the amount of economic compulsions that any government has, both at the state and at the center. Tobacco farming is a huge industry in India. Not that I'm saying that we should not ban cigarettes. I don't believe in smoking at all, and it's one of the worst things for anybody's health. I'm sure you remember my brother, who was a very heavy smoker, and see what unfortunately happened to him in such a young age. So I, for one, am dead against smoking. But that does not mean that vaping should not be banned. I don't think the two should be compared at all. The fact is that vaping or e-cigarette smoking is becoming more and more fashionable. Younger and younger children are taking to it, and because there's not enough advertising about the bad effects of vaping, etc., most parents don't know it. Children get away with cheating their parents, and a preemptive ban is as important as, like I said, we shouldn't be actually comparing the two at all. Nobody is saying cigarettes are not bad and they should not be banned, but as we all know, this argument has been, it's been discussed several times before. Vaping is very bad, and because cigarettes are worse, it doesn't mean that vaping should not be banned. That's all I'm saying. I think
one moment,
Praveen has a
point to make.
Which is not at all a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, Praveen, go ahead.
Right. So what I'm saying is that we are now expecting the government to do parenting for us. Okay. There is something that we have always said, and we have said regulated.
No, come on.
As trade representatives, we are saying that there is ample ways that countries are following, and we have shared these best practices. There are various ways that are available to make sure that the vulnerable sections of the society do not get access. And what are we saying? A 10 rupees ka cigarette wo afford nahi karega aur 2000 rupees ka vape afford kar lega. These are unreasonable assumptions that one is making. The government in the parliament, in last session had said that less than 3% of Indians are aware of vaping. So what are we? We are talking about protecting whom?
Okay. We are also joined by Dr. Monica Arora, a tobacco control expert and director of the Health Promotion Division at the Public Health Foundation of India. Dr. Arora, would you agree that not enough has been done so far in controlling cigarette smoking, that what we are doing in terms of vaping is all very well, but then the larger issue is something which is simply too politically sensitive and affects the livelihood of simply too many people for any government to have the courage to tackle in our country?
Definitely not. It is an ordinance which is landmark. It is definitely not affecting anyone's livelihood. It is in the interest of public health, particularly to protect our adolescents and youth in the country. E-cigarettes, just by the fact that they contain nicotine, makes it a harmful product. It is not a safe product, which is what is the way it is being marketed. It is not affecting anyone's livelihood because other tobacco products are still in the market. And the fact that this product has not been shown to be a cessation product, there is no evidence. Even if there is some evidence, it is of a very low level. And in terms of conclusive statements on this being a cessation product and helping people quit is definitely inconclusive. In fact, people who have started using e-cigarettes have become dual users. So we are only pushing the tobacco epidemic further by showing the safety levels
that's
and
an interesting point.
young children to start experimenting.
Yes, Praveen, respond to that.
Product.
Praveen, respond to that.
May I share some data on that? US saw more than an 11% decline in cigarette sales. Decline from 15% to 19%. France has seen a 12% decline in smoking after the allowing of e-cigarettes. I mean, how can you just brush away these facts? These are facts that have been declared. There are 60 countries, advanced countries, that are actually saying, you know, this is a safer option.
Monica,
why don't we at least study that?
All right. One sec. Monica, you had a point. You wanted to reply to that?
Yes.
That it is a safer option. I don't think there's any denying that.
Yes, definitely. Yes, 40 countries have banned e-cigarettes, and countries like US who actually introduced e-cigarettes in 2014 as a cessation product are actually now going back on their decision because they have seen that this product is actually being used by adolescents, school children and young adults. The smoking rates which were declining in US actually have started rising with the introduction of this product. So we must learn from the lessons from these countries who did introduce it not knowing its full impact, and now they are going back on the decision because they have seen severe lung diseases. There are even deaths reported with use of e-cigarettes. So this is a very timely ordinance in India. And
yes, Praveen, go ahead.
Madam, the lung diseases and the deaths reported, if you have gone into the investigations, they have proved to be caused by products bought off the street, okay, not regulated, not controlled products. And this is what we are saying. We are saying by issuing a ban, you are forcing this into the, you're forcing your consumers to be dependent on black marketeers who are going to give you adulterated products. The black marketeers, the bootlegger is not going to ask for age proof, okay? They are not going to turn around and say,
okay, so you're basically talking, ma'am, about the quality of what goes into an e-cigarette and what is available, commercially and in sealed items. Well, one way or the other, I think this discussion is a moot point unless you go to court and a court reverses this. India has announced the ban on e-cigarettes and e-vaping, and one would only hope that in the future more is done to regulate cigarette smoking in the country, but I don't think anybody would have any idea on how that's going to work. I'm out of time on this discussion. I'd like to thank all our viewers